Michael Zehr here. Today's special guest is veteran Lisa Davis. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us here at I like saying the name of Kathy told me the name of the studio, and I just love it. The Rising Eagle Studios here at the Warrior Healing Center. I just love that name. So, before I do start my questions with you, I would like to let the viewers know, if you're watching right now, hopefully with us live, if you would type any questions you have for Lisa or myself in the comments section, I will be able to see them and I can pass them on to her. All right, I remembered it this time. I'll be right in the middle of an interview and then I'll stop somebody and I'll be like, oh, that's so rude. I don't want to be rude. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about, first off, where you're from, where's home?
Home is here in Sierra Vista.
Were you born here?
No, not at all. I was born in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania. And where did you go, like, for your childhood school and stuff like that?
So
what areas?
I was really lucky because my mom is a traveler by heart. She loves to just move across the country. And we ended up here in Arizona. So I went to Bisbee schools for a little while. And then my dad is a Border Patrol agent, so now retired.
Oh, that's a great job.
Oh, my gosh. Let me tell you.
They do a great job for us.
They sure do.
Thank you, Border Patrol.
And they, of course, Arizona wasn't very busy at the time, but Texas was. So Texas, Here we come. And so I finished a lot of my schooling there as well. But, just like it happens in relationships, people get divorced and they go different directions. And my mom loved Arizona. So I ended up and graduated from Bisbee High School.
Bisbee High School.
Yeah.
So now what year was that, if you don't mind me asking?
It was 1998.
Class of 98. And what did you do after you got out of high school?
So after I got out of high school, I did what normal kids do and started thinking that college was fun. And I went to go get my added education and got a little job. I started working for the county. I was a dispatcher for juvenile detention. And then I got bored.
You got bored.
I got bored, and I had a lot of friends who were in the service, and they came back and they talked about it, and they talked about all the neat things that they got to see, all of the things that they got to learn, and that's when I decided that I was going to go and do something different. And that's what I did.
And that's where this interview is headed.
And that's where this goes.
To where your military career is went, and your what you did in the military. And so we'll start off with basic training. Where'd you go for basic training?
Oh, I went to, don't they call it Relax in Jackson?
Is that, I've never heard that. Really?
Oh, yeah, I did. I went to Fort Jackson. So I was there, and I was actually in a delayed type entry program when I first joined the Army Reserves.
Right.
And I was 20 when I ended up actually getting a seat and going in. So I was a little older. So it was much... It was a culture shock to me because everybody was 17, 18, young, running really fast, and I was 20 and my bones were already tired. But it was fantastic. It was a great experience. Basic training was probably the most fun and the foundation laying for the rest of my military career.
When you were in basic training, at that time, was it co-ed or?
It was co-ed.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. How did that work out? Was that all right?
There were 6 females in my basic training platoon. That was it. It was
I'm guessing
different.
Separate barracks, correct?
Yes, separate barracks.
Hopefully, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then, after basic training, you were in basic for how long?
I want to say, what was it at that time? 9-10 weeks. It wasn't very long.
Okay. And what was your, after basic training, you went to AIT, obviously?
I did. I was a 75 hotel when I first went in, and that's admin. So it was right there at Fort Jackson as well. It was super
So you didn't have to go anywhere?
I didn't go anywhere.
Wow.
And I had pretty much the same group of people with me. So that foundation of just friendships and things they really were able to foster there. That camaraderie that we get from being in the service, I got like a super awesome dose of it.
It's a great feeling, isn't it?
It is. It's fantastic. It's like walking into here.
Yeah.
And you walk in and it's like seeing you and it's like, oh my God, there's Brother Mike.
Well, I love coming here to the Warrior Healing Center. They do so much good things for veterans here. And we're trying to get the word out, and hopefully doing these interviews, hopefully more people will be seeing them and knowing that what the Warrior Healing Center is about, knowing that we're here to help our veterans, let them tell their stories if they want to tell their stories. Because when Kathy originally had asked me about doing this, there was no idea of what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to talk about, political opinions, because you know how that tears us all apart.
We'll get a fire going.
And as veterans, we need to be together. We don't need to be tearing each other apart. So I didn't want to do the political opinion thing. And I thought, veterans are near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
And I only served 3 years, but I have a lot of respect for anybody that wore the uniform. And so I decided, I think I want to interview veterans. So
I think that's fantastic. We all have different stories and different experiences. And that's, I think, one of the greatest things that we're able to get through the service, whether it be the Marines, the Air Force, whoever. They're all our brothers and sisters in arms. And we get that. We get it at a barbecue. We get it at the grocery store. We get it while we're waiting in line. And there's nothing better than that. There really is. In my opinion. I don't want to start a fire either.
I did forget to ask you, when you enlisted, did you get to choose the MOS that you wanted?
No. It wasn't, because it was before 9/11, and they were pretty much, bringing people in really fast. It was, hey, this is where we have a spot. And I wanted so much to do something different. I loved the camaraderie that I got to see. I took whatever they threw at me. The only thing that they did give me was the opportunity to choose if I wanted to go officer or if I wanted to go enlisted. And I said, well, what's harder? Because I was bored. I really was. I was
you wanted a challenge?
I wanted a challenge. I wanted to do something. And he said, well, enlisted is a little bit longer and, it's not going to pay you as much. And I said, but do you have more fun? And my recruiter was a very good guy, Sergeant First Class Uterbeck, and he said, yeah, you're going to have a blast. And I said, well, sign me up.
If you wanted a challenge, they didn't tell you to go down the door and go to the Marines or something like that?
I think they were trying to make sure they made them numbers.
Yeah.
He did not, and I was very fortunate for that.
And I wasn't in the Marines. I just happened to know that their training and everything is very rigid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Is rigid the right word?
Yeah, rigid's a good word.
Okay.
Hard, difficult, complicated. They complain about it a lot.
So after basic training, AIT, now you've just completed AIT. What is the next step for Lisa?
So
what happens?
Lisa comes back, and my ex-husband at the time, he was a police officer in Bisbee, and a very, very good man. And we had kids, and I go back to work.
Okay.
And I literally go back to work for a month, and then 9/11 happens.
Mm.
And once that happens, I then
get pissed.
Well, that too. Yeah, pretty damn mad. And then what happens after that is I get the phone call, and
from who?
From our Major Burnett.
Okay.
And we pack our bags, we start to get ready, and we go and head to Fort Huachuca, and that started 3 years of active duty orders.
Now, some of us may not know because we may not have Army Reserve training. Mm-hmm. You were attached to a unit here in Cochise County somewhere.
I was. Yeah.
And you were doing like the drills, or did it? I'm trying to ask that, like, you were doing the drills, the weekend drills and all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so instead of drills, a lot of us got pulled up to active duty orders. So that's what they call it. They kind of tag you and say, you have a skill we need. We're going to put you on active duty. And that's what happened to me.
Then you were saying 9/11 happened. Yeah. So then you got the call.
Got the call.
From here. I just want to make sure because...
Yeah.
All right.
I got the call from my house in Bisbee.
Okay.
And I went to work. But it was just like being on active duty, as an active duty soldier.
It is.
And I go to work, and we do everything with the unit that you're attached to.
Okay.
And so when you're attached to that unit, you belong to them. And
what unit were you attached to?
The 5th of 104th. And then they had us tasked out to the 111th. Now, all of those are MI battalions.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we were attached to these folks. We perform their mission.
Okay.
And we perform as support. So whatever it is that they need to fill the gaps, because some of their folks, they're not all. You can have a battalion, and you probably know this. And sometimes you have 2 people in your administrative department. You have 4 people in your training department. S3. So in your S1, you got 2. In your 3, you got 4. And then they're like, wait a second, we've got more people. We need to pull somebody to the S1. We need an augmentee, they would call us. And so that's why they would pull a bunch of augmentees so they could beef up their status and support more soldiers. And we supported soldiers who were attached to us but performing missions in different areas.
Okay.
So that's what I did. And that's where my love for the Army and providing support for missions like really manifested, because I saw so many folks like the Arkansas National Guard, for instance.
Okay.
They came down to get trained up for, they were doing an analytic type exercise. Do you know that Arkansas Guard hadn't been paid in 6 months? What? Those boys were working without pay for 6 months.
Wow.
So what we did, and I say boys because it was they were part of like a striker brigade or something. Okay. It was mostly men. So what I did was I said, what do you mean? And I was sitting outside having a cigarette, talking to one of them. And he said, these are our problems. I went back in and I talked to Major Burnett. And let me tell you about this guy. He said, the only thing you ever need to learn in your military career is people first, mission will happen. And I took that with me.
Wow.
Forever. And he said, if you take care of your soldiers, as the day is long, everything you need will get done. And so I said, hey, I got a problem.
Yeah.
Arkansas Guard hasn't been paid. And he said, well, let's fix it. And we went and we talked to senators and congressmen, and we wrote their folks and tried to contact their people. And do you know that we had them paid within the month?
How does something like that happen? And how does it go by 6 months without being noticed? Why does it take that long?
I'm sure they were complaining.
Yeah.
But money was going in different directions, and the way that the state runs National Guards is definitely different than the way the Army Reserve run. Federally funds, federal funds, state funds. We all think it's the same thing, but they're 2 different colors of money. And that's where I learned that there were different colors of money. But they weren't complaining. They were just doing their job. They wanted to make sure that our boys overseas were getting taken care of, because that was
safe. Because
that's all they care
pride
about.
And mission.
Absolutely. And they'll eat food out of a trash bag if they have to. They just make it happen. And it was a beautiful thing. And that's where, after that, my love for any soldier just blossomed. And not that I didn't like them before, but now it was different.
Because you had a bigger picture. You saw the bigger picture of what was going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of times, our service members that are in combat areas that are being supported by areas here, mm-hmm. you may not see exactly how your support is helping them.
Yes.
But you do find out eventually.
You sure do. Yeah. It was also where, I was in for 13 years. And it was also where I saw gaps in the way that we treated families while soldiers were deployed. And that was one of the things that I never wanted to do. So I became a family readiness group liaison, and just keeping in contact with those families so that they didn't know how to take care of their soldiers when they came back.
Right.
They didn't know it well. And to them, it's not their soldier. To them, that's their dad, that's their sister, they didn't know how to interact, and there weren't always good things happening then. So when I noticed that a little bit more, I volunteered for a lot of stuff. I wasn't voluntold, I volunteered. And being a kind of a social worker counselor by trade, that was just something that I saw, that doesn't look right, that doesn't look right, that doesn't look right. My brother shouldn't be going through that. My sister shouldn't be going through that.
Right.
But their family didn't know any different. And that was the hard part. So that's where I kind of stepped up and said, okay, let's say. So we threw parties for parties, called people. I had 6 birthday parties 1 month for kids I didn't know, but
wow.
I sure knew them afterwards. But those were things that they needed to still feel connected to us as soldiers. Right. And to still feel connected to Dad while he was overseas. And it was before the fancy FaceTime and Facebook and, Insta that, whatever that looked like. They didn't have that before.
Right.
It was snail mail. They got a letter once in a while.
Well, that's like our Vietnam veterans.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great group of people.
Wonderful group of people.
Got, treated pretty badly when they came
shafted.
home.
I mean, yeah, definitely say it.
And our 9/11 soldiers... to me, any veteran that puts on the uniform is a hero.
Absolutely.
I don't care what era you served in, because when you sign up, because ours was volunteer too, mm-hmm. It wasn't draft.
Yeah.
When you sign up, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know if a 9/11 is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, it's very true.
So what happens next? What are you doing after that?
So... still kind of hung around. I bounced from place to place, unit to unit, I should say, not place to place, but unit to unit. So I assisted the 111th, the WIOC, up in Phoenix for a while. They are cyber technology, so that was when we were starting to learn that was a big deal. So still surviving my civilian life as well.
Okay.
And my civilian life at the time, I worked for the county. And I worked county juvenile probation, and I was a drug court liaison. So I had kids who were on probation and having issues with drugs. And during that time, I finished my bachelor's degree. And I, really just wanted to get out and work with kids at the time because I had an instant-made family. And so I had married my husband, now my ex-husband, but he came with 3 beautiful children, and I see them growing up. You want to do something better, and that's what I really learned by serving our soldiers, was also learning that serving them helps serve the community, helps serve our children. So there really is this waterfall pattern that happens. As long as we make sure their parents are taken care of, kids will be taken care of, and then they blossom into beautiful parents themselves, and the cycle continues. So I did that. And then 2006 came around, and 2006 was really hard for our boys in Afghanistan.
Okay.
And
what happened in 2006?
So 2006, I decided to change paths.
Okay.
And I became a contractor using some of my civilian education, and I worked on the crew team. And we were an MTT teaching crew capabilities, counter electronic warfare.
And at this time, you're not currently active?
I'm not currently active, no.
But you are still in the reserve?
But I'm still in the reserve.
Gotcha. Just want to follow the path. Gotcha.
So, and as a reservist, it's hard because we bounce around from things to things. So what I was able to do was to teach crew the counter-electronic warfare to soldiers who were starting to deploy on their 3rd, 4th tours.
Isn't that crazy? To go over that many times?
Yes. And they had been going over without protection. They had been going over without
the Kevlar
equipment. Oh
my
Kevlar,
God. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. So I was much smaller at the time. I still have little hands, but I was much smaller. So I was able to get under trucks and RG-31s and LMTVs and able to get under there and use these little creatures to tie wires together and put machines together, right? So, and then teach soldiers how to use them. And that was the biggest thing. Teach them how to be safe. And so, because equipment is only as good as a box if you don't turn it on.
Right.
And teaching them the reason why we turn it on, teaching them the reason why this technology follows, to me personally, was a way of helping give back to those boys who were back and forth all the time. And so I did that until 2013.
Well, one of my biggest issues is mainstream media, and I don't want to get political. I'm just saying they report things sometimes that aren't true. But I remember something about the Kevlar vests. Our military wasn't having them. They weren't protected. Something about the Humvees, because there was a lot of IEDs, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember the exact story, but I thought that there was like a company in the States that shipped a bunch of that stuff or tried to help the government to help our boys get that. I'm not sure I remember the whole story. I'll have to look that up, but it's just when you brought up the protection and stuff like that, it's...
So those radio-controlled improvised explosive devices, RCIEDs, that's pretty much what we were trying to figure out, because you couldn't see those. You didn't see them coming.
Right.
That was a lot of people tell the story of the remote control car kind of going around across the road, and all of a sudden there's an IED. And if you would have told me that in 2002, 2003, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But in 2006, 2007, 2008, I knew too many friends that happened to.
Because technology was evolving.
Absolutely. And it was a scary, scary thing. So I wanted to become a part of that fight.
Right.
Now, as a soldier, as a reservist during the time, I really appreciated the job I was doing there. But as a civilian, having my military education, that's where I was able to blossom.
Okay.
I was able to really hone in onto the different skills that I had, and that's where that came about.
How as a contractor would they be able to support some of the military that are over there?
Oh, so they send contractors overseas quite a bit. We either send them to teach, we send them for support. So I have a lot of friends as contractors who went overseas to Afghanistan, Iraq, places like Tikrit, Kabul. What they did was they assisted in either training, sometimes manpower. And by manpower, not necessarily, picking up your weapon, head to the front line. That's not what they do. But they do help keep logistics alive.
Okay.
They help keep the supply chain rolling. They help keep fuel on the ground. These are folks who... They're really the behind the scenes. They care for the soldiers. Most of the time they were soldiers.
Right.
And you don't go into contracting just because you're like, it's a lot of money, I'm going to do this.
To be clear, too, that's why I was asking about how the contractors affect it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like being, negative. I want there to be positive things that people need to hear this kind of stuff.
And contractors are usually those who are prior service. They got out for whatever reasons those look like, because everybody has their own reason, and that's good.
Go in and learn a skill and then take that skill and apply it on the outside.
And still help your brothers and sisters out.
Yep.
I mean, you can't beat that.
Nope.
You really can't, because you're still giving to the fight. You're still giving to your country, and you're still giving to the people that you care for every day. And that's a big deal.
As a woman and a mother of three, you said?
Four.
Of four. What was that like for you personally, happening to be away from your kids and your family, but yet that you're helping your country at the same time? Number one, I'm sure your children were very proud of you. I know they are.
They're good kids.
And I'd like to hear that side of the story, if you want to share it.
So I was young when I inherited 3 children from my ex-husband, and I'm very proud to say that 2 of them joined the service. Both of them went to UAVs. One of them recently, just about a week and a half ago, graduated from his WOBC, so he's now a new warrant officer.
Wow. What branch?
Army.
Army?
Yeah.
Both?
He's active duty, both.
Active?
Yeah.
Thank you both for joining. Thank you for your service.
They're good.
It's an awesome commitment.
Good kids. But I missed a lot.
Yeah.
I missed a lot. Now, my ex-husband at the time, he's a police officer, and now since retired, but very good at his job, very good man. I have nothing bad to say about him. We just had to go our separate ways. But
it's good that you can co-parent like that.
Oh, absolutely.
And still be able to communicate. That's really
well, the kids are the ones that's
the important ones, right?
Kids and your mental health, your own personal mental health is really important. And he really, with the help of a lot of family, held the fort down. And that was, sister-in-laws and father-in-laws. My father-in-law was a very good man. He's since passed, but
I'm sorry to hear that.
He was a Navy vet. He was a yellow shirt.
Okay.
And so they flag in aircraft on the aircraft carrier, and that's what yellow shirts do. But he was a very, very good man. And that was the hard part, is learning that you miss so much. And as a police officer, my husband missed a lot. And as a service member and then a traveling contractor, I missed a ton. He was able to at least stop by at a birthday party and have a piece of birthday cake. I was gone, and we didn't have
not even in the area.
And I had to make a phone call to make sure that I hit a birthday or something like that. So there was a lot of things that I did miss. But you know, that's kind of what really guided me. My daughter, my biological daughter, she turned 10, and I had to kind of draw a line in the sand. And that's when I realized that I couldn't keep up with going and contracting and working and doing all of that stuff, but I still wanted to help, and I didn't know what to do. And I used my civilian education, my military training, and a lot of things that I did in my civilian workforce prior to the big kickoff of 9/11. And I said, okay, I want to go back to helping people. And so then I went on to be the Associate Agency Director of Catholic Community Services.
All right. So before we get into that, how many total years of service then did you have?
I had 13 years.
13
Five
years.
of those were active.
Okay. And what was your rank when you got out?
I was an E6.
E6. Mm-hmm. That's great. Great story. I appreciate you sharing that with us. So now you are Catholic Community Services. Mm-hmm. And what are you doing there?
So we had foster care, adoption, in-home services, parent aid services, domestic violence crisis shelters, and we covered 5 counties.
Wow.
Gila County, Graham County, Greenlee, Santa Cruz, and Cochise.
And is that out of Bisbee?
No, it was out of here. In,
the one in Sierra Vista?
Yeah, okay. Here in Sierra Vista.
All right.
And so that was kind of a way to continue to give back. And let me tell you, we were able to help many veterans who came back and wanted to adopt children, have
that's
families
amazing.
of their own.
Great.
And so it was still kind of feeding into that. Now, we also did some counseling services, some in-home services, where we would provide families who had DCS interaction, the Department of Child Safety,
right,
for whatever reason. And sometimes it was alcohol abuse, sometimes it was substance abuse. I mean, there's lots of things that happen. But one of the biggest things was being able to give back to them and show them that there's a better way. That was really important.
And that people care.
Absolutely. You know? Oh my gosh. Yeah. And our community here in Cochise County, this community is huge on giving and just being there for each other.
Cochise County, let's give them a
Absolutely.
Very good.
I mean,
we do. This community is just awesome. They step up.
I don't know that I would want to live anywhere else. Because here you can go to the store and meet so many people who are like, hey, did you see on Sierra Vista Sells or Sierra Vista Gives, somebody needs something. Right. And they're picking it up at the store. Up.
Yep.
And that, you can't beat stuff like that.
I did an interview with Rick from Zehr.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people, sadly right now, they had a lot of damage to
their
roof,
that.
So they're not able to help. Well, they're still able to help, but I believe it's a thrift store. So
yeah,
if you're watching this and you didn't know about Zehr and the damage that they had there, the roof blew off pretty much is what happened at the thrift store. Let me see if I have... Rick, don't kill me for doing this. I'll put it in the comments later, but
Please do.
I'll put Rick's phone number down there in case any of you are watching this and would like to call and reach out and see what you might be able to do to help assist Zehr. I think that would be great. So if you would remand me, and I'll put his phone number down there in the comments.
I absolutely will. He does great things for this community. And then, so after that, you get tired of listening to different stories, and sometimes and you get emotionally exhausted. So I had then since been divorced and remarried, and my current husband now, is a CW4, still serving.
Okay.
And
what does he do?
He is an intel analyst. He is a command chief for a unit in San Antonio. And he's a fantastic man, but he got to the point where he was traveling a lot. And my hobby, I love to spend time with him because you don't get married to somebody that you don't want to see.
Right.
And so I took that time, and traveling over 5 counties was just getting exhausting. And I spent it making sure that I could take him to and from the airport, that we could finally adopt a puppy. And now we have two.
I'm just curious,
Yeah.
are all warrant officers in like the aviation type field?
No, not at all.
No? Okay.
Yeah, so
I thought they used to be. I don't remember. I thought it used to be that way. But
I think that's where they came from.
right.
But I know they just had a birthday not too long ago, so happy birthday, Warrant Officer Corps. But yeah, warrant officers are a different breed of characters, but we love them all the same.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then for 6 months, I didn't do anything but take care of my family and adopt two puppies, which probably was the most insane thing we ever did at one time.
What kind of fur babies you got?
So we have a rescue. She is, her name is Azula, and she's a German Shepherd Husky mix.
Oh, wow.
And then,
a big dog.
She's not very big, thank goodness.
Okay.
No, well, she was born with distemper, so they were afraid nobody was going to want to rescue her because she's a little
poor
punier.
Baby.
But man, is she's a bundle. And then we also have a pug boxer mix.
Oh, wow.
She looks like a pug with a boxer like ego. She thinks she's huge and she's like this tall.
Yeah, both of my dogs, Chase and Lily, they passed away last year, and that was
so sorry.
And I tell you, I so want to get another dog, and I see all these other fur babies, and I just want to go up and love on them, and I try to, if I am allowed to, depending on it. Like if they're a service dog, no way. Yeah. But what I was going to get to is that I think that it's great that you adopted two dogs. There's a lady that I know, Linda, that she goes and actually. I couldn't do it because it would just tear me to pieces. But she goes down to the dog pound, and just goes down there and loves on them.
Wouldn't you end up having like 52 dogs in your house?
Exactly. I'd be one of those people where my neighbors would hate me and they'd be calling the police on me because all the dogs barking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got the two fur babies, and then what was next?
And then my daughter started college, and I didn't have anybody to care at home. And Bill, my husband's name is Bill. He was working so much, and he was constantly gone, and he had just started a new position, so he was, high demand. And then I was home alone with two dogs, and so they don't talk. Right. And I wanted to still help people. I didn't necessarily want to be in that counselor mode. And so I was fortunate enough to get a job at Eden Home Health.
Okay.
In hospice, yeah. And so I still get to help people. We have a very strong connection with veterans, which made it even more of a bonus.
Right.
And so now I can't imagine doing anything else.
And for those of you that may not know, Eden Home Health Care used to be Legacy,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
It absolutely was. It was Legacy. And so now as Eden Home Health, we are able to provide home health care. We provide home care.
Oh, I know, because I get it.
Hospice.
I get it.
I hope they're good too. I'm sure they are.
Yes,
and if not, I will have
Crystal.
I'll talk to them.
She comes and fills my medications, and I'm a wimp when it comes to shots. I get the once a month shot. I can't do it to myself. I'm just a wimp when it comes to that.
I hear you.
So she does my injection and does my vitals and all that stuff. Very, very good nurse. She's very kind and caring, and no, I'm very happy with the services that I get.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear. They are an amazing group of people. I mean, these men and women, they really work hard. They just want to make sure folks are taken care of. They try and try and try again to make sure they also have all the resources that they need.
Okay.
Because that's kind of one of the big things that we deal with, especially in rural communities. Is you can have anything you need in a big city, and in a rural community, you can't find a taxi to get to your doctor's appointment. Or you can't find somebody to help you pick up your groceries. Just the little things that we often take for granted. So they have the ability to kind of reach out, and they reach out to social worker, they reach out to me, and they're like, okay, this is the problem we have. How can we help? And that's where this community comes into play. It's just so giving and so selfless.
You ought to get with the Commander Ron Roberts down at the DAV for the veterans here locally.
Oh, yeah.
That need transportation. Because from what I remember, the DAV will provide that.
They absolutely do. They are fantastic people. And now that I see that you're running all over the place with all of these volunteer organizations,
I'm trying, Lisa. Let me tell you, I'm trying.
You're doing amazing.
Because I do the Elks Lodge at the Elks Veterans Committee, the Knights of Columbus here, and then the chapter service officer at the DAV, which I enjoy. Except for yesterday, I had to help a widow, and she just lost her husband a few weeks ago, and man, that's hard.
It is. It's very hard. And so that end of life service that we provide in hospice provides a chaplain, a social worker, a nurse, a home care aide, and the team behind them is all of the ladies and gentlemen in the office. Now, one of the things that we have that I will brag on him because he himself is a veteran is our hospice nurse who is a combat medic.
Okay.
And he goes into these homes and he talks them through what's going to happen with their disease process. He talks to veterans just like he would if he was meeting them at Safeway.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's that
kind of informal but personal.
Absolutely. And not just that, but when you're a veteran, when you have that background, we speak a different language. Mm-hmm. The look in our eyes is different when we meet each other.
Right.
And when he makes that connection as soon as he walks through the door, it's like they're inviting family to their home and getting the best care that they possibly can. It's a really good deal.
I totally respect and love anybody that works in the hospice field because I tell you, you know that they're eventually going to be losing their precious life and their family, and to have to deal with that, that's got to be very hard. It's just something I couldn't do that.
It is hard. But
I care, don't get me wrong. I do care, definitely. It's just that it takes a special person, and that's why I love nurses, and I've loved nurses way before the pandemic happened, because the nurses, male, female, doesn't matter, do such a great job.
Yeah. They do.
They were heroes before the pandemic. It's just that it took something like the pandemic for them to get noticed. It took something like 9/11, sadly, to happen.
Absolutely.
For our American heroes, our military service members to get recognized. And
it's rough. It really is rough. But you know, the thing that they do I wish that they just had more time to do it, is when it comes that time where your faculties start to go and, you know, you need a little bit more care at home and the doctor knows that the end is near, is they don't get that help for you soon enough. And if we could just make sure to teach doctors and families as well to call in and say, hey,
this is what's happening.
I'm not sure if this is here, because there's an army of nurses. Just like when you need help moving, and you can call your army of friends to come and they help you. That's one of the biggest things that really does break my heart, is they could get that kind of help sooner. But that's one of the things that I really appreciate doing now. And everything that I did from start to finish has in one way or another tried to be that selfless service portion. You know, in the Army, we learn all of these pillars and they make you memorize everything. And I think that was the one that was most important to me.
Like our general orders.
Absolutely.
I had to remember those. I couldn't repeat them now if you asked me to, but you used to have to know them.
I can tell you what the general orders are in my house.
Yeah. Obey, Mom.
Take the trash out. Start the dishwasher.
So at Eden Home Healthcare, how does a person that's watching this get in touch with you or Eden if they're interested and need those services?
Oh, you know what we can do? We can put the number in the description as well. But if you have any need and you're just not sure what you should do, you can give us a call. Our number is 520-335-6985. 6118. And we will walk you through the process of getting a referral from your doctor so that you don't have to pay little to nothing. That's really what we're after.
The VA provides it for free.
Absolutely, they do.
For it,
Absolutely, they do. And they provide a home care aid as well.
Right.
So if you need somebody to come in and help, maybe you have a hard time getting up. Some folks have a hard time bathing themselves, transferring from one place to another, ambulating across the room even.
Right.
You give us a call and we see what we can do to work that out so that you get the help that you need.
We had a couple at the DAB yesterday that were having issues, so maybe I get in touch with them and have them contact Eden, because I know that they're at that age where they need help because they can't clean and stuff, and they could really use assistance like that.
Yeah.
So
that's where home care services come in, and let me tell you, our home care aides are fantastic. They do the hard work. That companionship sometimes gets really difficult because as Alzheimer's and dementia start to kick in, family gets frustrated. I mean,
and scared too, because you don't really know what to expect.
Exactly. Family gets frustrated. They get frustrated because they think they're forgetful, and sometimes they're not forgetful. They're just living in a different time.
Right.
And so it's important to have somebody who's patient, who's knowledgeable, and who can help educate you through that disease process as well. And that's what they're there to do. And I am very lucky because I get to brag about these wonderful people all day long. And I don't live that hard work, but I do provide that resource for them. We're out in the community talking to, we call them referral source providers. They are the doctors and the community. So we've just started because the fact that things are starting to open up, and I can see people again. You know what I hated about the masks?
What's that?
I couldn't see if people were smiling at me or
not. Oh, I know. Right?
I mean, when you
have to look at their eyes and see.
Did you learn to smile with your eyes?
No, I don't think I could.
It was really hard. So now that we can see people smile again, it's huge. But we're now back and involved. We've got a thing at the Mustang Cowboy Church.
Okay.
That's coming up.
That's out there in Whetstone?
Yep, we're going to be there as well. Okay. And so we'll be able to start talking to folks about healthcare and kind of getting that ball rolling, but getting that talking back and in order. I just want to talk to people again.
Well, Jeff and Terry, I did a thing with them last week, I think.
Awesome.
And it was, they both have ideas for socializing and trying to get people together to play cards or a movie night, or they had some really great ideas. So Jeff and Terry, if you're watching, give us an update on what's going on when you can, and I'll be happy to pass that on to our viewers out there, because we do want to socialize.
Yes.
We do want to see people. We do want to hang out. I know that you personally come to the Bagels and Brew, and you'll provide little stuff. Like I got a nice little cup that you gave me, and sometimes you'll get a really nice, like a little writing pen, and coffee, because there's all kinds of stuff that they bring, and they just give to the veterans. Just that Bagels and Brew is really a lot of fun. Gosh. I wish more people would come. We need to get the word out.
Yes, Bagels and Brew is the place to be, and you can talk about anything. I mean, talking from raising puppies to raising kids to raising husbands to raising wives to teaching school
and keep in mind, there's 50 plus different organizations in here. Yeah. They may not all be in here at one time, but that work through here that you get to network with.
You absolutely
make friendships and connections,
and you can provide so many folks. I have veteran friends of my own. And of course we all do. We usually, run in circles together. But I know that when I was walking down the hall and looking at the different folks who were here, and I was like, oh my goodness.
Those legacy? The legacy program? Is that what you're talking about? The pictures?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
It was amazing. And by looking at those, I could walk through the hall and say, Oh my God, that fits him so well.
Yes.
He needs to see it with his own eyes, though. So I tell him, this is where you need to go. This is who you need to talk to. Or just walk through the door. You will feel so comfortable just walking through the door.
I think some people are uncomfortable because they don't know what to expect. I was like that, and I could tell you, after you take that first step and you come in through the front door,
it's like being home.
Oh man, when I the very first time I came in here, it was a couple of years ago, and I walked in to the room because I run this group, Cochise County, Arizona Veterans Group, because I'm trying to get our veterans to communicate. It's slow. I got 200 people in there, but we're trying to get.
It's coming.
But the very first time I tried to get the group to meet for coffee, and I believe that's the first time I met you, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
Was at Bagels and Brew. And you walk in that room, and they got these comfortable couches, and oh my gosh, it's just, you got to come.
And the people make it so cozy. Yeah, you sit down, you look at that person, and like I was saying earlier, there's something about a service member. When they meet another service member, you can tell right off the bat. It's in the eyes.
Yep.
And you just feel at ease, and you feel comfortable. Tim and Kathy, I mean, just the way that this was put together is so that every veteran has a space. Every veteran has a place. And when you put that down, then every veteran has a home. And that's really what they do here. And
the people that I've met here, and I don't want to miss anybody, so if I do, I'm sorry, but obviously Tim and Kathy and Beth and Dan and Stone and Kyle and Jeff, and I mean the list of volunteers that are coming in here and doing this stuff just goes on and on and on, and they're all great people, and they're not here because they're getting paid. They're here because they care about you, about our community. So, Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Warrior Healing Center. I loved your stories, and thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. I got a couple quick announcements here to go through. Only about a list this big. The first thing I wanted to talk about is something that's near and dear to, I believe, both our hearts and anybody that's worn a military uniform. I was doing so good with the uhs and ums today. I was really trying to be cautious.
You did great.
On September 11th, 2021, they are having a Cochise Freedom Fest at the Veterans Memorial Park. Sadly, it's going to be the 20th year memorial of 9/11. The event is brought to you by the Warrior Healing Center and Keepers of Liberty. It is. If you want any information, please go to Cochise.freedomfest.com. Tickets are $40, and the concert starts at 10 a.m. and goes until 10 p.m. Don McLean's going to be there. Bye-bye, Miss American Pie.
Oh, it's my husband's favorite
Great song. Yep. And the Gatlin Brothers, Keith Anderson, Trey Taylor.
Oh, my goodness.
It's going to be quite a concert. So please,
we'll definitely
if you can attend, let's do. Tickets, again, are $40 for that. Daily here at the Warrior Healing Center, starting at 0900, going to 1600 hours, we have Arizona at Work. If you're a veteran in need of helping to find a job, come down and visit Kevin McFadden, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name. Doggone it. I'm sorry about that. Also, Open to Veterans Ad Hoc are the live stream and podcasts here. If you are interested in doing your own podcast, come on down. On Friday, July 16th, which is today, I have to keep remembering I'm doing this on Friday. From 1600 to 1800 hours, we have the Gratitude Drum Circle. I have never done that, but I've seen it done, and it's
doesn't it look amazing?
Spiritual, almost. Spiritual would almost be the word I would say, but so that's the Gratitude Drum Circle. Again, that's today at 1600 to 1800 hours. Also, at 1600 hours is the Benson Community Food Pantry cooking class. I went to this last month, and I'm so glad I did because my wife went. She didn't want to go in. She just I'll wait. I'll wait out in the car. And I asked her to come in, so she came in, and she loved it.
Oh, I bet.
She was one of those people. I don't want to go. Oh, I love it now. What they do is they take and teach you how to cook meals out of the boxes that you get, the food boxes.
Oh man!
So
that sounds like a lot of fun.
I highly recommend it if you can get there. It is at the Benson Community Food Pantry, and that is at 2300 West Calvary in Benson. Also today at 1700 to 2200, we have the American Legion Riders Bike Night and Dinner. That's going to be at the American Legion Post 52. Tomorrow, Saturday, July 17th at 0800 to 1000 is the American Legion. Oh, wait. See if I read this right. I did that one. From 0800 to 11 is also the RWB Help Event. That's in Hereford. So if you're interested in that, you need to contact Justine Marshall for details.
Justine's a good lady.
I don't have her phone number on here. So if you need Justine Marshall's phone number, I'll see if I can get it and put it down here in the comments for you. Also, Saturday at 1700 to 1800 hours, there's the Young AA Potluck Meeting right here at the Warrior Healing Center Recreation Room. And tomorrow is also is the Scottish American Military Society Honor Guard at Arizona Highland Games. That's at Williams Rodeo Grounds. I don't know. Isn't Williams up there like north of Tucson or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
I think. I'm not sure, but I don't know what this is, but it's interesting. It sounds interesting. On Sunday, July 18th from 1200 to 1400 hours is the WHC Dust Off. Do you know what a dust off is?
I have no idea. Are we cleaning stuff?
That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like everybody's going to come in and do a spring cleaning. Tim, am I wrong? Because when you guys are done, you could come over and dust off at my house. And then on Monday at July 19th from 0900 to 1000, they have the Marine Corps League breakfast. Oh. And that's every Monday at the Landmark Cafe. If you are interested and would like to go and listen to some old war stories, call 520-456-5720. Monday, July 19th at 1730 to 1830 is the 5 Treasures of Qigong here at the Warrior Healing Center. Oh, wow. And then Wednesday, July 21st at 0730, we have the Bello Vets group ride. They are going to meet at the Pueblo del Sol Country Club parking lot. And that is, again, July 21st, 0730. Bagels and Brew. I love that. July 22nd, 0900 to 1100. Be there. 0900, 1100, Bagels and Brew is going to be right here on July. Did I just say the date or not? It is July 22nd. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then on Thursday, July 22nd, from 0930 to 1050, we have the Vet Center Vietnam Veterans Recovery and Support Group here at the Warrior Healing Center. And on Thursday, July 22nd, from 1000 to 1300 hours, the Warrior Healing Center will be making Rona phone calls, which is basically they call around and check on our veterans in the area, see if they have any needs, if there's anything that the Warrior Healing Center could do for you.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Ah, there we go. I knew somebody was going to be on the ball. There it is. Operation Dust Off, as a crew heads out to interact with some of the homeless and dust off some of the homeless veterans who can be plugged into. Oh, that's awesome.
That is fantastic.
Thank you for post that up there. Thank you. Okay, also on Thursday, July 22nd, 1700 to 1830, we have the Flutes for Vets Circle here at the Warrior Healing Center. And another one that's very important on Thursday, July 22nd, 1830 to 1930, is the Warrior Headspace and Timing. It is a PTSD support group right here at the Warrior Healing Center. And that is all I have.
That's a lot.
That's it. I know, right?
That is a ton.
Because they do a lot.
Yes.
They do a ton here. That's why.
Wow. That's fantastic.
I mean,
there's no reason nobody watching this shouldn't be down here getting what they need.
I agree. And Tim and Kathy had their way. I could probably do a whole show just on events of what's going on around here. I could talk about all this stuff. Actually, that would be a great idea for another vet that's watching.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they want to do a pod stream. Maybe they want to come in and talk about what's going on around here at the Warrior Healing Center or in our community.
That would be fantastic.
I think so.
There's a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just walk down the halls and see the different offices and give everybody 50 minutes of conversation on here because they do so much and they want to.
Yes.
That's the thing. They want to.
I love doing these interviews. They're fascinating. I know that when they run long, people tend to kind of fade in and out on them and stuff like that. But I do enjoy talking with our veterans. I love hearing their stories. This isn't about me. It's about our veterans. It's about our county, about our community, about what our local veterans are here to do to help others in this county. So, Lisa, I can't thank you enough for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, it's our pleasure. And that's Kathy. What Kathy said.
Kathy is probably one of the best ladies on the planet.
Isn't she?
Mm-hmm. She sure is. And I really, really appreciate her. Thank you, Kathy.
Well, if it was up to me, I would adopt her and Tim, make them family.
Yeah. But, they already are.
True.
They already are. That's the blessed thing about us, is that brothers and sisters, no matter what uniform you put on, you're already family as soon as you walk in the door. That's true.
That was kind of my point. All right, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Much.
So from the Rising Eagle Studios here at the Warrior Healing Center.
That's an awesome name.
Michael Zehr, Lisa Davis. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.